We're 8 weeks out from the Newport Marathon, and it's time to get real. In this video, I'm going to go through the target setting process. I'm going to go through an A, B, and a C goal and show you how I get to that process and all the information that I use to make sure I've got realistic expectations for the day. Hope you enjoy it. So I'm just coming off a bit of a down week, a bit of a rest week, where I've managed to spend some quality time in Spain, visiting family, and I've done some nice running out there as well, obviously with a lot of the pressure taken off of marathon training. It's important that you get a rest week in every now and again when you need them. It really gives your body a chance to recover and to absorb the training. Having said that, it's now time to look at where am I going from here? What are my actual goals? I've been ramping up the training over the past few weeks, had a little bit of a break over Christmas, and then we've got a good 5-6 weeks of quality training in there, getting the base properly built up so I can do some more specific sessions now and really dial into some training paces. But what are those training paces going to be? So firstly, we're going to look at the predictions. So I've got a prediction from Garmin and I've got predictions from Strava, the new predictions that have come in. So if you're not familiar where these come from, they will take all of your data, all of the runs that you've put in, and they'll give you an idea of how fast they think you can go if you train specifically for that event and it all stars aligned and everything was perfect. Now mine, traditionally, haven't been a million miles away, and I'm looking at those now. In my 5K, there's no, I can't do that. Half marathon possibly, 10K is probably a bit quick as well, and then the marathon I probably am there or thereabouts, I'd say, if I'm being honest. And as you can see, the Strava is not hugely different as well. I will get a chance to properly dial in those paces because I have got a half marathon coming up, so that will see how accurate that is. But ultimately, my 5 and 10K are pretty irrelevant at this point because I'm training for a marathon. What also happens with these, especially with the Garmin, because the Strava one's new, so I didn't see that one last year. But with the Garmin, the marathon time will come down as you do more long runs or more specific long runs. Now at this point, I've only really done one with anything even close to marathon pace in it, so I should be looking to see that come down over the next few weeks. Well, we'll see, but that's what I'm expecting, is that once I do a few proper long runs, that should get me closer to what I want to do for the marathon. In terms of seeing where my fitness is currently, I am lining up for the Great Welsh Half Marathon in the same place as I did my first sub-3 marathon, but this time I'll only be going half as far. So that'll give me a good chance to see where I am. Now, obviously, I'm not trained properly for a half marathon, but still, I think that I'd like to go sub-80 if I can. But again, it will just be a realistic view of where I am. When looking at what paces to target for your marathon, it's really important to look at the profile of the marathon that you're doing. So if you look at this one, Newport, there's almost no elevation at all. There's a couple of bridges to go up and down, nothing to worry about, absolutely lovely. All I've got to worry about is the weather. Now, again, in April in Newport, unlikely it's going to be really hot. More likely there might be rain or wind. But again, that time of year is potentially really good for a marathon. So fingers crossed. You can't do everything, but you can at least make sure it's flat. Now, one thing I would like to do, being from the UK, is to run the London Marathon. I've tried a couple of times to get in through the ballot entry system. I think for me, the best way of doing it would be through a Good for Age qualification. Now, Good for Age gives the opportunity to get into the marathon based on the time, and your time will be based on how old you are. So if you are relatively decrepit like me, being 44 years old, if you look there, to get in, I would need to run a sub 2:57 marathon. Now, sub 2:57, yep, I've done that already, and that sounds good, so it should be relatively doable. But at the same time, people are getting better and better at marathon running. So this is a 2026 qualifying time. So by 2027, that may well be lower. They've only got a certain amount of places, so running sub 2:57 won't necessarily get you in. So I've kind of put it in there as, if I do 5 minutes under, that should get me in for next year. So I'm looking at a 2:52. So that will be obviously one of my goals. It's now time to set those goals. Okay, so as I said at the start, I'm going to do an A, B, and a C goal. Okay, so the C goal, we're looking at a 2:55. So it's basically run a personal best. That comes out about 4:10 per kilometre or 6:42 per mile. So just to try and get under 2:55, that'd be good. So that's the kind of least I want out of the day, really. Then if we look at the B goal, that will be that London qualification time. So it's a 4:05. per kilometre and 6:34 per mile. Again, I think that's eminently doable. And then my A goal would be to get under that 250 mark, which is 4:02 per kilometre or 6:29 per mile. I think those are all pretty reasonable goals. As well as that, I also want to run a more even split marathon. Now, I'd like to do a negative split if possible, but at least only a small positive split. In my 2 fast marathons that I've done, I have had a bit of trouble in the last 5 miles or so. In terms of those goals as well, they are what I'm going for at the moment, but they aren't necessarily set in stone. If I get an injury, if there's something happens on the day, I may well adjust them. But at the same time, from where my training is at the moment, I'd like to target those. And again, they could go up, they could go down. But that is what I'm looking for at the moment. Thanks for watching. Please remember to like and subscribe. I will be posting a race day footage video of my half marathon that's coming up soon. Hope to see you then.